A bit of a different video today. I need to fix up my Workbench PC, which has developed a fault. Plus, I need to do something about that operating system. My name is Jesby, this is my tech department. Los geht's.
Oh, it's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
So this is my Workbench PC. It is a rather marvelous ITX build in this rather splendid case from Cooler Master, and I paid just €69.99 for it about 2 years ago. Now, I bought it because of the case. I thought it looked like an aircraft black box, and at the time I was thinking of rebuilding my big flight simulator, and this would have been a cool machine to have painted up, do not remove on it. It would have looked great, but as it turns out, it actually makes a fantastic little Workbench PC. For example, I use it to do all kinds of things. I use it for OBS so I can record screen grabs or footage from other machines. I use it as my oscilloscope. I use it for the Handtech scope, which is brilliantly displayed on here. I use it also for things like reprogramming EEPROMs or logging into terminal with PuTTY. There are lots of things I use this machine for. Unfortunately, it has developed a fault. Now, I think the cooler inside has come away on one corner and it's just lifting and it's causing the CPU to overheat. On top of that, because it is an Intel 4770, a wonderful 4-core, 8-thread CPU, about 4.2 gigahertz of power on that, a really decent-ish machine, to be honest. But because it's that, there's no upgrade path to Windows 11. You see, I'm on Windows 10 here, and Windows 10 had its support withdrawn back in October 2025. Now, in Europe, we did get a stay of execution for a year. I don't know why. But come October 2026, Windows 10 will no longer receive security updates, which is a real pain because unlike any other machine in the tech department I have, I use this one on the internet. So if it's not getting security updates and I can't upgrade to Windows 11, which I can't because it requires 8th gen CPUs and TPM2, which is just ridiculous, well, this machine is essentially becomes scrap. And it's not the only one. There are tens of thousands of machines that are perfectly working that because they can't get Windows 11, well, it means to Microsoft, they're scrap. To businesses, they're no good because they need those security updates. We don't want to end up being hacked after all. But these machines are still useful. They can still run. The hell, this has, alongside that 4770, 16 gigabyte of RAM and a NVIDIA 980 Ti card. This, in its day, would have been a pretty ninja machine. But today, scrap. So I'm going to look and see if I can replace Windows 10 with a Linux variant. Simply because Linux is free, it's currently updated, and I want to see if I can do all the things I mentioned that I do with this on Linux. And if so, well, then it's bye-bye Microsoft. Although I usually work on Mac, so Either way, why don't we get started and take a look and see if we can work out what the problem is with our CPU cooler. Come on. So let's take a little look and see if we can see what the issue is. Now, I believe there's some power saving going on the CPU. You can look at it here. These are our top temperatures. So these are the temperatures currently at hand. These are the temperatures the distance to TJ max. But up here we have the load and the CPU speed. Now there is some definite energy saving going on here. That's currently 800 megahertz out of a 4.2 gigahertz chip. And yet our temperatures are in the 40s, the very low 40s, the high 38s, high 30s, low 40s, and the machine is essentially doing nothing. Now I don't think that's good. So I'm going to see if we can find out what the problem is. Also, if you listen here, that sounds like the fan is rubbing. So I'm going to take this apart and we're going to take a look and see if we can bring those temperatures down. And also work out why that fan is making such a racket. Well, getting into the machine normally would require removing 2 screws, but apparently I didn't bother putting them back, so that's a good start. Last time I was in here. So there we are, case is off. Let's take a look at the spaghetti monster, shall we? And there it is. It's tight in here. As you can see, I've got a large hard drive there and an SSD here. So that's nice. And the main PC is actually this bit back here. And you can see this there. Well, we're going to have to get all of this out. This is not going to be fun, I can tell. Working on ITX machines is always a little difficult. There's very little space, and the space that is there is often taken up by extra cables that just don't have anywhere else to go. So I start by removing the power supply, which hopefully will give us access to the back of the board. Next up is the battle to disconnect all the cables from internal sections. They are hidden everywhere, including a lot of them hidden where you can put the optical drive. Yes, if you can believe it, there's room for an optical drive on here, but with everything else in the case, I have no idea how you would fit that with the rest of these power cables. No wonder this machine is getting hot. With everything released, we can finally get at our tiny little ITX board, and it is so tiny. The cooler takes up a good half of it, and it's not even a good cooler. It's an Intel stock one. No wonder this machine was having trouble. With the cooler removed, well, all that's left to do now is to clean off that CPU, ready so it can have its new CPU cooler put on, well, in a little bit. Before that, of course, let's see if we can work out what exactly has gone wrong. Alright, so that actually wasn't too bad, but here is the problem with this thing. So it has these horrible plastic things. Also, it's just a standard Intel cooler, but look, this one is missing a tooth, which meant it wouldn't lock down. So that tiny little cooling space, not covering it, it's just... So let's replace this with something a bit beefier and hope to God it fits, because that's tight. Oof. So our replacement cooler is this Thermalright Classic low profile CPU cooler. It does multiple things, so look, well, I mean, that can only mean good things, right? It's all in Chinese, so it's obviously, that's going to be fun. We've got a bracket there for AM4, that's fine, don't need that one. Let's take a look at that cooler. Here it is. And yeah, I think we can all agree that's a bit beefier. Just gotta hope it fits. Along with that, looks like we've got a little package there. Right, first thing I want to do, I think I'm going to put the RAM back in because I need to see where that's going to fail. Actually, no, the first thing I need to do is adjust this. So this is set for 1700 CPU slots. So let's change that over and get it on ready for the 1151. Prepping the cooler is a bit of a pain. In common these days, because there are so many different socket types, coolers are generally kept generic, so I have to swap out the 1700 socket attachments for the 1150 series. Next up, I quickly clean out the RAM slots, pop one in and test fit our little cooler to make sure everything's going to be fine. Finally, then I make sure I screw in the back plane, making sure I go every other corner so as not to cause too much strain on one side of the board. Once that's done, all I've got to do is, well, pop the cooler on and away to go. All right, so it's back together. I didn't film the reassembly process because actually it wasn't that interesting. Once you've seen one computer go together like this, you've seen them all. I haven't tested it yet, so. Well, we have power. Oh, and it definitely sounds quieter. Actually, it's really quiet. Is it going to work? Slightly. I'm not concerned. I mean, we have this coming up, so that's good. Come on. Here we are. Okay, right. We're back into Windows 10. Bless its little cotton socks. I'm more interested in actually looking at what our temperatures are. Will it be different? I don't know. It's very tight in there. It's very tight, but I've got to imagine it's better than just the average Intel. I think so. Where did I leave it? I put it downloads, real temp 370. Come on. Come on. Yes, we want it ready. It's fine. And yeah, actually, it does look like that's made a bit of a difference. Actually, it's made a huge difference. Okay, let's take a close-up. All right, yes, that has made a massive difference. Let's take a look. For starters, you can see our temperatures are now in the low 30s to high 20s. On top of that, when we load up, we're now seeing 4 gigahertz appear when it actually does something. There it goes, like 3.5, 2.6. So it's still balancing the load, but it's working so much better and, more importantly, so much cooler. That's brilliant news. Now, on to the next job. Get rid of this bloody awful Windows install, shall we? So welcome to the quiet part of the tech department, where I've got a Mac Mini, and we're going to now choose our Linux install. Now, Linux comes in a variety of flavors, like so many of them. There are distros for everything, but the one I'm going to choose today is perhaps the easiest for most people like myself. I'm not an avid Linux user, so I'm choosing a nice easy one, Linux Mint. Now, it was between that or Ubuntu, but I've tried Ubuntu a couple of times and I always get like weird hardware issues. So I'm going to go and keep it simple, and we're going to choose Linux Mint. Now then, to install Linux Mint, we need a USB drive plugged in the back there, a computer with an internet connection, and what we do, we just go and we ask Linux Mint. There we go. Now, you'd think this would be a simple thing of, oh, download Linux Mint. So 22.3 is the thing. But Linux comes not only in various distros, but with various desktops. What do I mean by that? Well, you know, the Windows desktop or the Mac desktop. Well, that kind of thing. And Linux has, at best, I've counted 3 that I know of, probably more after that. There is a choice of Cinnamon. Now, Cinnamon is native to Linux Mint, and that's the edition I'm going to download. But you could also get XFCE version, which, well, it says it's a lightweight version of it. So if you're installing this on older hardware, maybe the XFCE version is the one to go for. And the other one is the Mate edition, which it says is the classic desktop environment, a continuation of GNOME 2. Now, GNOME. So I just want to pause here and say, yes, it's pronounced GNOME, even though it's spelt gnome with a silent G, you know, like little pointy-hatted guys that sit in British gardens. It's pronounced GNOME. I don't know why. I take my information from the wonderful Linux mom of YouTube, Veronica Explains, and she says it's pronounced GNOME. So I'm going to go with her experience on this. Thank you. Popular Linux desktop. I use GNOME at home with my Barzite install. I like GNOME. It's very Mac-esque, so it feels very familiar to me. But for today, I'm going to stick with Cinnamon. Other Linux distros will include things like, let me see, what was it called? There's Cosmic. KDE, I think, is another one. And you can get, of course, GNOME. But I am going with the Cinnamon. So what we do, we click download. And it tells us the file size is 2.9 gigabyte. And if we scroll down, you can download it from these mirror sites. Now, normally you'd think, oh my God, downloading from a mirror, that could be dangerous. But actually, these are good sites. Here you are, Linux Mint on a world server. The University of Calgary has something. University of Waterloo Computer Science Club has an image. The one I choose, I tend to go for Germany. And I go to the Friedrich Alexander University at Erlangen in Nuremberg, which is A, fairly close to where I am, and B, well, I trust the university. I'm going to trust the university to not have a virus, infested install. So what you do, you click on that, and there we go, it starts downloading. I'm going to stop it because I've already downloaded it. and it came in at about 3 gigs. So once we're done there, we need to go and find something to change that file and pop it onto our USB stick. To do that, I'm using a program called Baliner Etcher, or Baliner Etcher, I don't know, this thing, whatever it's called. It's called Baliner Etcher. So what you do, you install it, you select flash from a file. You can also flash from a URL, but a file is easier. So I'm going to select my Linux Mint install there, my ISO, and it's just frozen up on me. Okay, crisis averted. I did the same thing again, having closed it, reopened it, and now it's absolutely fine. Yay, computers. Okay, come on. So I'm going to select target, and I'm going to select our vendor code product code media, or my 16 gig USB stick. Also show 2 hidden. Well, we don't need any of those, but we definitely want that one. So select one, and then I'm going to tell it to flash. It needs privileged access to all, so I have to type in my password. And we're off, and it's going to do its thing. So while that's doing it, I'm going to make a cup of tea. Still going. It's not a quick process, but I do now have a nice cup of tea. So that's good. What it's doing now, that it's still writing the original file to disk. What it's going to do then is it's going to verify that file. And once it's verified, we have an installer to take back to our PC, and we can check out Linux Mint Cinnamon. Here you go. Validating. Well, cheers. Oh yeah, that's good tea. Baliner Etcher is a fantastic piece of software. It's free to download, and it allows you to create bootable USBs of, well, just about anything. So I first came across it with a Raspberry Pi, I believe, but it's good to see that you can use it for doing things like installing Linux or any other operating system that you want to put on a USB. So yeah, grab it, use it, enjoy it. Alright, so that's the easy bit done. Well, it's technically the harder bit, but it's really simple. So now all we've got to do, we've got our thing in there, power it on, and let's start the install process, shall we? Tea. So I'm going to get into BIOS. You can see everything is optimal. We've got that going for us. So good, good, good. And yeah, so if we go here, no, okay, let's go to advanced mode. Advanced mode. Let's go to boot. And I'm just gonna override it. So there we go. Boot override. I'm just gonna select that. And this will start our Linux Mint. We can start in compatibility mode, OEM install for hardware manufacturers, but we'll just start Linux Mint. Why is that important? Well, you see, Linux, a lot of the distros, you can run them from a USB without installing them on your machine. So you can try it before you buy it. And given that it's free, it's even better. But you can try it before you buy. That's a lot of fail points. It's working though, it's trying it. Wow, it's okay. So one thing with Linux, it always looks so very scary. I don't know, it's found the device driver. Good, look at that. And honestly, don't be put off by this. You don't need to worry about this. This is all for Linux. It's doing its own thing. Mint is sorting itself out, I hope. Otherwise, I've just made a video on how terrible Linux is. Okay, well. It does take a minute to install, and obviously we seem to be hitting some kind of problem at the hardware level, but we'll see, we'll see. It's not very reassuring, is it? I mean, it's got a signal. Do I have a mouse? Oh, no. We do have a mouse. Is it? Yes. Okay, okay, and there we are. So it looks scary. It's not. I promise. Welcome to Linux Mint. And yeah, you can look around and you can try things. You can see it's familiar. If you're used to using a Windows desktop, this feels familiar. There's a start button there. There's some power buttons there. We have tabs here so we can open our file manager. Yep, look around and yeah, I mean, it's fairly familiar. Devices, so it's found our 240 gig one, and then this one just says new volume, and I know that's just the 1 terabyte drive in there, the spinning drive. That's good. But the really cool thing is we can try stuff out. So for example, we want to go to sound and video. We can play videos. So show me celluloid. And if I go here, actually, if I remember, this one has a couple of videos from things I've done in the past. Click that. Right, there we go. That's playing perfectly fine. So the question is, do I spend some time now looking around, or do I take the plunge and install this with removing Windows 10? I mean, it's tempting. We have backup tools, driver devices, all this stuff. Office. So we have LibreOffice as well. This is actually a fairly good Office suite from what I'm led to believe. Internet is, Firefox is our default browser. You can choose your own, obviously. I'm not going to comment on that. Yeah, but there are lots of different things, and you can see it's actually quite a powerful system. It's, and it's free. And you know what? Yeah, I'm going to install Linux Mint, and I'm going to put it on our 239 volume. Now, what I could do, and I think probably what I will do, in case of emergency, I'm going to leave Windows 10 there for a minute. So I'm going to partition this drive up. So I'll have Linux Mint installed on it, and we'll rely on the spinning drive. So let's run through the install process. So English, yeah, seems good. Keyboard choice, well, that is actually a UK English keyboard. Yep, that's fine. Lots of options. Polish key. That's fantastic. Could have actually chosen English extended Windows, which would have included that key. Never mind. Yeah, go on. Install those multimedia codecs. So it's preparing Ubuntu drivers. So this is the weird thing. Install has detected the following disks have mounted partitions. Yes. Do you want to install to unmount these partitions on these disks before if you have mounted them? Sure, why not? So take them out. Again, this is where Linux actually does cause a few problems, because it does come across as, what the hell does that mean? It's very much Ligrill, what the hell is that? But actually what it just meant was, I found these 2 disks. Do you want me to take them off the desktop and then we can look at stuff? Sure. It could be just a tad friendlier, in my opinion. Okay, 2, I want to erase disk and install something else. Let's have a look at advanced features. Yeah, none of that makes any sense. Something else. So let's do something else. You can create or resize partitions yourself, or choose multiple platforms to partition for Linux Mint. So let's do that. So he's looking at, yeah, he's looking for something. Scanning the disks. Right. So that one is, so dev.sdb is our 1 TB drive. SDA is our main drive. So see there. Right, so I want to, what do I want to do? Change. And I'll be honest, this is where it can get a little, oh. So what I would really like to do is set that a partition on that, but I don't think it's going to be possible. At least not with the knowledge I have now. So actually, I'm going to go back and I'm just going to say, screw it, we'll install whatever on it, because there's not that many programs I need on this. So we will clear the disk and install it natively. Come back when that's done. All right, so we're installing. I figured, what the hell, may fortune favor the foolish. So where are we? We're somewhere here. So we're in Central Europe. Well, Rome is a bit harsh. Come on. It's close. Give me Vienna. Thank you. There we go. So we're continuing. So we've told it where we are. My name, Jess. B. Yeah. I spelled that all kinds wrong, didn't I? Jess B. There we go. Your computer name will be tech debt work. Oh, I see. We're going to have a work person. Username Jess. That's fine. I'm not. Look away now. I'm going to have it to log in automatically. Yeah, that's fine. Continue. And now it's going to be copying files. So why don't we leave it doing what it's doing and come back when it's oh wait, that's actually moving quite quickly. I thought, oh, I've got time to have a sit down. Oh, that didn't hit. I don't think I'll bother looking at that. You know what? We'll
As I finish my cup of tea, I realised that Linux is still seen a little bit as a hobbyist's operating system, and it's so not. This is a very good commercial level operating system. You can get Netflix with it, you can get a plethora of open source creativity suites and open source office suites that rival their commercial counterparts, certainly better than Office 365, and no AI Copilot. With everything installed, let's see if the machine's working.
As always, I managed to find the problem. So you can see we're ready to launch and we get error. Shin lock protocol not found. You need to load the kernel first. That's new. I've not seen that before on other systems I've worked with. So I think, to go to the BIOS, and apparently it'll mean secure boot is stuck on. In fairness, I haven't checked the BIOS. So let's do that, shall we? Oh, advance. Oh, thank you. Security. So, no, that's there. Boot. So, secure boot. Here we go. OS type Win UAE. Other OS. Try that. So let's exit. Save changes and reset. Yes. Little things you don't think about. Let's see if we can get it to load now, hey? Yes, that's better. So yeah, if you have that problem, secure boot. Well, and here we are in. So we have a way to change desktop colors. This is actually really cool. And it gives you a very nice welcome thing to allow you to see what's what, where and when. Now, I can't install any software at the moment. I don't have it connected to the internet. So next time, because I feel like this video has gone on a bit. Next time, we'll install some software and see if we can get this working properly. Well, there we have it. Our machine is back up and running. It's purring near silently. It's actually very surprising. I didn't realize how loud that old cooler was getting. On top of that, we have a brand new operating system, and next time we'll see if we can get the software we need running on Linux, or I may have to go scurrying back to Windows 10, but I'm fairly certain that's not going to happen. All that's left to say now is thank you so much for watching. I know this has been a very different video than I'm used to making, but I wanted to raise an important point that this machine is working perfectly fine. There is zero faults with it right now. And it can continue working perfectly fine for the next 10 years. This machine will play games. It will do your office work. It will do all the things that it was doing before. But Microsoft decided that actually we don't want to support that old machine. We need you to upgrade to Windows 11 and you need a new PC for it. And that's such a shame because millions of these machines are out there for next to nothing. You can buy machines like this now for as little as 30 to 40 euros. And I may do that at some point just to look at different things we can do with an old machine like this. Just because Windows 11 doesn't support this machine, and for the record, I realized there were ways to make Windows 11 work with this, but having read a story this week in The Standard saying, Microsoft says Windows 11 is broken, yeah, I'm going to stick with the free software, thank you very much. So all that's left to say now is, when it comes to old computers, even new old computers like this one, remember to reuse, rediscover, and you never know, you might find your very own ITX build just waiting for a second chance because Microsoft said it didn't deserve a first one. My name is Jess B. This has been my tech department. Cheers. Passed.